Here's a quick video talking about turning one of these big True freezers into an aging fridge. So I got an actual freezer instead of a fridge because then I can use it either as an aging fridge or as a freezer. Where obviously if you get the refrigerator, you can't make it freeze. But I've gone through some stuff trying to make it work. So here, I'll show you real quick. This is a True T72F. So it's 72 cubic feet, which was just enough to fit a steer, just barely. And I'll show you also here, I have the Inkbird. This is the temperature controller, and then this one's humidity. And then those sensors just go inside in here. And then I have the Yo-Link there too, so it actually will text me if the temperature or humidity is not right. So what I'd originally done is hooked, my other True freezer was a 110. This one's a 220, so I'll talk about that here. But on the 110, I hooked it right from the freezer into the Inkbird. And so then the Inkbird would turn it on and off as needed. But I ended up running into a problem with that because there's the defrost on here that it has to run a few times a day. Otherwise it will freeze up the coils that are inside. And because I had it on that Inkbird, it wasn't running enough defrost cycles, ended up freezing the coils, and I ended up having to pay a bunch of money to have it fixed. Obviously it wasn't broken, but it cost me a bunch of money. So I did some researching and found out you can grab the wire going from the timer, or from the defrost timer, to the condenser and the condenser fan, and instead put that into, that is what hooks to the Inkbird now. So now the freezer itself keeps running. The fans and everything else, the defrost timer, all that keeps running. The Inkbird is only controlling the condenser now. And something else, while that other freezer, when I thought it wasn't working, I went and bought this one. It's a 220, which creates another issue. You can't hook 220 right into the 110 Inkbird. So I had to get a contactor. So this thing right here, let's see if I can get there's model and everything on it. But so what this is doing, I grabbed, there's the contactor that comes with the freezer right there. So I found the wire that controls the condenser and the condenser fan by, I went and shut the freezer off, unplugged a wire, went and turned it on. Condenser was still working, so it showed me I had the wrong wire. So, and the contactor has two sides. There's one side coming from the timer, and then the side going out to everything else. So I was just messing with the timer side, and eventually found the wire that controls the condenser and the fan. So now it's routed through this contactor. So let's see if I can show my wiring here. It's definitely not professionally done. I was just kind of testing it last night to see if it would work, and it did. So I'll clean up the wiring. But right now, I just have this little wire here, which is it's just an 18 gauge. It doesn't take much. But that's what goes to the Inkbird temperature controller. Comes over here, which turns the contactor switch on as the Inkbird wants the condenser to come on. But then the main part of the electricity is actually going through here. So I have this jumped on both sides. And then so there's the wire right here coming from the timer to here, and then on the other side going from the contactor to the condenser. So I just grabbed those two wires off the old contactor. Sorry I'm kind of rambling and not very organized, but this is mostly for me later, being able to do this again if I need to. So now the temperature controller Inkbird will turn that on as needed, and then I've got a humidifier in here. So there's the humidifier. That's an ultrasonic humidifier. And the humidity Inkbird runs that one. That's what the white plug is there. So I paid on Marketplace. I paid right at $1,500 for this freezer, which is a pretty good deal. Usually they're about $1,800 or $2,000, but then you can get one of these and make a aging fridge big enough to hold a whole steer. I'm trying to think of anything else I've had to do. I did weld up a system for holding the meat. So it's just some scrap steel I had around here. So welded it up. So this bar right here I can move it back and forth. There's another one in here. That hook right there, I can actually move it, slide it back and forth also. So then I can really position the meat where I want it. And then I added this bar here with some more, so then I can hang stuff in the center. And did the same thing on the other side. So it's real adjustable depending on where I want to hang the meat. It came with shelves, but they won't go up high enough to hang stuff on. And you don't want that meat touching. So that's my project there. Kick everything back on, but it's working out really well. I was doing the math. Here, I'll ramble a little more. I was doing the math on building one of those CoolBot rooms. I've done that before, and after you buy the air conditioner and the CoolBot stuff, and I gotta plug this all the way. After you do all that, and the insulation and building a shed and all that, even if I was going to build it in my shipping container so I don't have to build a shed, it still ends up being, I'd spend more than this thing. And then I was looking at like using little freezers like this one, but by the time you buy a bunch of those freezers, you could have bought this thing, and it's commercial grade, so it'll last a long time. It can be worked on when it goes down. I don't have to just throw it away. So ended up, it's actually cheaper to do it this way than to do all the other stuff. And when I'm doing my own butchering, all I have to do is butcher 2 steers, and I've paid for it. So this ends up being the cheapest method again, and the most reliable too. So there's my rambling about how to make an aging fridge.